The car spun. In the split second before the crash, she saw everything. Glass shattering like stars, the driver's hands flailing, her breath caught mid-gasp. A moment stretched into eternity. Time, it seemed, had broken, but it hadn't. Her brain had shifted gears, squeezing milliseconds into mental miles. Time doesn't just tick. It bends inside the brain, stretching in fear, shrinking in routine. Children feel summers last forever. Adults blink and the year is gone. What governs this strange elasticity? Somewhere between memory, motion, and meaning lies our experience of time, a construct as fragile as it is profound.
Wasting away the moments that make up a dull day. That's what I think of when I think of my brain on time.
Time. So I've got word of the day. Chronesthesia. What do you think that means? Chronesthesia.
Wow, I'm stumped.
Chronesthesia.
Chronesthesia. So here's the thing. If I was to say to you...
Scared of time.
If I was to say to you, can you travel through time? You'd say, well, no, you can't. And then I would say, well, do you remember sitting down at the kitchen table this morning having breakfast? You've just traveled through time. Can you remember something that happened? Can you imagine something that's going to happen? The term is chronesthesia. Chronesthesia. Traveling through time in your head. We think we're probably the only species that can do it. Dogs have a hard time with it because they think a minute is 2 hours unless they're putting us on. But they're always so happy to see us, whether it's an hour or 10 days, right? They don't seem to make that distinction. But time. So, I almost thought, well, we're going to have to do some peyote for this session and then see where we are with time. So what is it? I mean, I guess we could start by examining the whole idea of time and the universe.
You're really good at giving us those historical. When did time become a thing for the human development? I got to imagine in the beginning it wasn't an issue.
Right. It wasn't an issue because you didn't have to be someplace at a certain time. Right. Or you didn't have obligations, or you didn't have, and time was really measured by where the sun was. Oh, it's getting dark. We better go find safety, or that big animal's going to find us and eat us. So there's this idea of time. But the more interesting thing is this. Time. Einstein was a big thing on time, but time. Who determines what the metric of time is? Is time the same in other galaxies? Does it go faster? Does it move slower? Is it a constant in the universe? So you can't speed it up, you can't slow it down. You can have an illusion. Time passed quickly. Wow, time passed so quick. I didn't even know it was. Wow. Or, God, this is taking forever. Holy cow. But the whole idea, I mean, just think about it. That's why I think we needed a little mescaline or something. But to just really go, time. I mean, if we were Cheech and Chong, wow, man, time.
Wow,
time.
Time's a trip,
time, man. Yeah, time, man. What do you mean by that? Well, time, man. Well, what are you talking about? It's time, man. It's time. Cheech and Chong were on TV the other night, and the older Cheech and Chong doing one of their old routines, and people were still cracking up about of them. But time, right? So it begs the question of, would we be better off if we weren't so time dependent? And look at how time consumes our lives. Even this podcast, we run a timer, so we know the time, which tells us now we need to do something. Well, what if we didn't do that? What if we just went until, okay, that's enough?
Right.
How can you imagine a world where people said, no more clocks, no more time?
That's how the cavemen did podcasts.
As they painted on the rock wall.
Yeah, they didn't need a timer.
Yeah, right. Just show up whenever you want, and it'll be okay. But the value of time in terms of how we organize our lives. Could you organize your life without time? Could you, David? Could you say to Emily, "I'll see you when I see you. I'll be back." That's that term. "I'll see you when I see you," which implies time is not a constant.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, but it's not true. And you say, "I'll see you when I'll see you, Emily," and she'll say, "Home for dinner?" "Oh yeah, I'll be back at 5:30. No worries."
That's right.
So we like to pretend that time isn't our taskmaster, but it really is. We've allowed in our modern society time to dictate everything. Oh, that song is 4.5 minutes. It's too long. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe people would like it. And look at the people who defy our perceptions of time. Queen's, their Rhapsody, Bohemian Rhapsody went on and on and on, or In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida just went on and on. Everybody, or the Allman Brothers who defied musical time. How long are you going to play? Just till I don't know, we'll just play till we can't play anymore, or we don't want to play anymore. But for most of us, time is a major component of our lives. Imagine if the airlines were going to London tomorrow, James and I, to work on our new show, but imagine if the airline said, "Well, we'll go whenever you get here." Well, that's called a private jet.
Oh, yeah.
We'll go whenever you get here, but by the way, starting at 2 o'clock, the clock runs. So if you're not here till 4, you're going to pay for 2 hours of the pilot sitting on the tarmac waiting for you. So we really can't escape time. And then the question is, how much does time contribute to our stress? We talk about
everything.
Well, maybe. I mean, kids being overscheduled.
Right.
Or all of us having, what happened? I had too much to do. What does that really mean? Well, I didn't have enough time to do everything that I had to do. Well, why didn't you just do fewer things? Oh, no. I had all these things I had to do and not enough time. Right. The other day I had a conversation with a high school kid who his motto is slow is fast enough. He's a nice kid, but he moves like a turtle. Nothing speeds him up. His parents say, "Doesn't matter. The house could be burning. He's going to still put his socks and shoes on. Nothing speeds him up." And he and I agreed that if a day for him was 28 hours, it would solve all of his problems. It's just not enough time. All these things I want to do, and there's not enough time.
I'd say let's make the day shorter.
Yeah,
and the night longer. Bedtime.
I think we just wrote a song.
What's that song? Isn't there a song, Long Nights? What's the Bee Gees song? Oh, that's Lonely Nights, maybe?
Oh, Lonely Nights, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But so we have an evolutionary relationship with time. And when, as you point out, when was there a point at which we said, "I only have so much time"? Because for a long time, we didn't know time. I mean, I don't think that our ancestors 100,000 years ago said, "Oh, it's almost 5 o'clock. We should get that big roast on the fire and find a cave before the wolves come out." I don't think they thought of it as time. They thought of it as, well, this is what we need to do when this happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect, right? But at some point, we became a slave to the clock. It wasn't that we need to do this because it's getting dark, or we need to do this because otherwise everybody will starve. It was, we need to do this because it's 6 o'clock. Right? 6 o'clock, you have to do it because it's 6 o'clock. My ex-mother-in-law, 5:30, got to eat. Right? And how about the early bird special? I mean, if there was no time, what would you say? Well, the first 20 people get the early bird special. Well, what if nobody came till later? Well, they'd be the early birds.
They're still
be the early birds. So we have this funny relationship with time. But at some point, time shifted from being something that gave us some indication of what we wanted to do to something that set limits for us and when we have to do them. Mm-hmm. And a certain amount of stress goes with that. Yeah. And then the other evolutionary issue is, even before we consciously thought of it as time, we exist in time and space. So the brain has a relationship with time. It's a funny thing.
And that's evolving.
Time
is faster to us now
Right.
than it was when we were 15.
And in high-stress situations, people feel like time is slowed.
Yes.
But really it hasn't. The brain just processes faster. Recalls more memory. So the amount of memory determines, if you have a lot of memories, it must have been a long time. And when you're stressed, I think, the brain goes on this mode. We talked about the amygdala. Is it danger or not danger, right? And all of our brain resources are directed towards whatever the risk is, rather than keeping track of time, right? So
it feels like it goes slower.
Feels like it goes slower. And when you're stressed, cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine kind of enhances our senses. So we have more. I think the more sensory data coming in, the slower the time seems to be, right?
Right.
And people, our reaction time doesn't slow up, even though we think, oh, wow, I can still see that accident and the car rolling over and a person being ejected out of the accident. I can still see it all in my post-traumatic stress dreams. But it really is the same reaction time. We just have the perception of it.
Because the senses
Well, that's
are
interesting. You
heightened
just watched
stress.
the F1 show. Do those guys have...
Well, that's reaction time.
That's okay. It's not a perception of it. It's...
No, I'm going fast, and I have to react to the movie. In the movie, you see them do all these exercises for reaction time, to react quicker,
I see.
right? And so again, this whole issue of time and how our brains measure time. What I was gonna say was that some people just manage time fine. It's an interesting relationship between my wife and I. She'll be pissed if I mention it, but it doesn't really matter when I get up. I'm always ready to go when I need to go. I'm dependent on the clock, but still, if I have an hour, I take an hour. If I have a half hour, and I don't necessarily sit down and block it out by time blocks.
Right.
I just seem to be able to move through time and be where I have to be within a minute or two of where I have to be there.
Yeah.
But other people, doesn't matter how much time they have, they run out of time. And in our society, time is a commodity. You buy things based on time. And the ultimate monetization of time was the movie, where people had a certain amount of time. They didn't get paid money, they got paid in time. In minutes,
that's right.
What was that? We talked about that movie before.
Yeah, with the little watch.
Well, so it's embedded in your arm.
Oh, that's right.
The pop singer.
Justin Timberlake. Yeah.
Timberlake.
Yeah.
Right. I like the movie. I watched it again the other night.
Yeah. It was clever.
Oh, it's a great movie, and but it's a
time.
little carried away because you have the time, you don't age. Right. So the girl's father, the time billionaire, he looked younger than the girl.
Yeah.
Because he never got older. But leave that part out of it. If you can monetize time, and human beings are very creative. Years ago, Craig and I, when the first dial-up started, the 900 numbers, and the 900 numbers they pretty quickly figured if you want to keep people on the line, it's sex to do it.
Sure.
Right? So you want to talk to Monica or Susan, or hi, I'm Monica, and the goal was you're paying $3 a minute, so the goal was to keep you on the line as long as possible, right? And so one of these guys who was making a lot of money on these sex lines thought, well, maybe I'll branch out. So at Skaggs Telecommunications out there and by the airport, remember, in their big open studio, we set up an audience, and we had secrets to successful parenting, and I was the host, and we'd have different people on, and Craig was involved, and what we did was we made, so this was when it was on TV, right, and we made a half-hour show, and I'd have a couple of guests and talk about, let's say, bedwetting. We talked about bedwetting, okay? And then we'd say, we'll be right back after a commercial, because we did it like a TV show. And the commercial was, this poor kid wetting the bed. And you want to know what to do? Call this number and we'll give you help to. And you'd call, and the whole idea was because we're selling you time, was before you ever got to anywhere you could get any help, it was 5 minutes. Right? So it was push this tree, then this tree. Is your kid this age? Is it there? Is it this? And eventually it's okay, so here's some tips, son. And I recorded all these audio. We had this big audio, just tree, right? It was really before much in the way of AI or computers. And so we made the show, and we made commercials, the one about bedwetting. And we made 3 or 4 commercials, and we made these trees where you could get information. And then the guy runs it at 4 in the morning.
Right.
And we said, well, why are you running it at 4 in the morning? He said, well, that's the cheapest time to buy TV time. And that's when I get my best return. I said, yeah, from horny guys who at 4 in the morning are looking for something to jack off with, not looking for advice for your kid.
Not a mom wanting help.
You need to run it at 9 in the morning. Yeah. Oh, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that. And then years later, Bob Brooks, who I write with, we made 1 minute to better parenting, and
That's right.
and we did it with what's the company that owns all the radio stations? We had a grant and we created it, Clear Channel, and they ran it during drive times as a kind of a promotion. It got a very good response, and they said, "Oh, we want you to do more of them, but you got to bring a sponsor." And I said, "Why?" Well, it's time. You have to buy the time.
Yeah.
You know how much the 30 seconds of the Super Bowl coming up is? $8 million. I was thinking, like to go out and panhandle and say, I want to make a commercial for the Super Bowl. Could you help me and see if I could get $8 million?
A GoFundMe.
A GoFundMe. GoFundMe for $8 million to make a commercial. Well, what are you going to put on the commercial? I don't know yet. You want to be on the commercial? Good. Give me money. But it's so interesting that we don't think about how time, on so many levels, right? But
yes.
Time has become a commercial product. And time has become a taskmaster that really dictates how we live our lives. And on a more visceral level, time is a phenomena that influences how we feel, or what we think, or what we remember.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And some people are time blind. They're kind of always in the moment, and they have a hard time thinking about the past or thinking about, the future. And we've talked about this before, that the brain compresses our history. And I find the idea of a zip very analogous for
Like a zip file.
A zip file, because your memories are stored up in super zip files. And I say, David, remember that last time you played with the jazz band sitting there above the open doorway where the jazz come out? Do you remember that last time you played? And you go, quick, find that file. Quick, unzip it.
Access.
Quick. Who was I playing with? What was I doing? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You unzip it.
And sometimes you forget the password.
Oh, that's a very different problem, right? What's the password for time? But
That's
people want more
frustrating.
time.
Oh, always.
There's never enough time.
Just this week, I was making commercials for UTA, and the director kept saying, I wish these were 60-second commercials, because we didn't have enough time to say everything they wanted to say in 30.
Right. And sometimes what they do is they say it really fast.
Yeah.
That's when they're advertising drugs that could kill you. And they say, hey,
Yes,
this is a great new drug and everybody should have it. And then at the very end, it's
Side effects may include. Yeah.
And you slow it down, and it's, if you take this drug, odds are you'll die. So what? I don't understand. What? Okay. So time.
Time.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think traveling through time, again, look at how we romanticize time. Time bandits. Traveling through time is the ultimate perceived adventure.
Oh, yeah.
Think of all the different shows And then think of, in the year 2525, if man is still alive, if woman can survive. Yeah. I mean, just think about it. It's really pervasive when you start thinking about time as a commodity, time as a, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it pervades everything. What would we do without time?
Well, it seems that it's as we've developed with time. Now, it's our most fascination is with time.
We couldn't go back now.
Can't go
Right.
back.
We can't go back.
Can't go back.
And there's this idea that you can, and if you could go back. I started watching this limited series, 1163. Is that the day Kennedy was killed?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen that series?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes back in time, but always to the same place.
Yep.
And time doesn't like it, so time tries to chase him away. That's another weird thing of, could you really? Because we can stop at this, but because this will blow your mind, which is why we needed a little mescaline for this. If you can go back in time, let's say you can't go forward in time because it hasn't happened yet. That's a whole different idea.
Yep.
But let's say you can go back in time. It means that every second of every minute of every hour over 6 billion years still is existing as it was. How is that? How can that be? There's not enough room in the universe for all those alternative...
For all of our
those
timelines.
All those different timelines, how can it be? So the idea, once time has passed, it's past, and that's it. And most people don't really... It's interesting because most people don't think about how they're slaves to time.
Or slaves of the past. Yeah.
Or slaves of the past. Okay.
All right.
We should take a break.
Let's take a little break and enjoy some music from the band Sigmund Freud. Welcome back, Brainers. Thanks for spending the time with us. You mentioned some time experiments.
Yeah, if you sit in a darkened room and the experimenter turns on a light, then you have to keep track of how long it's on, and then it goes off. Then you have to turn on a light to match how long the light was on.
Oh.
Okay? When you do that, you discover that some people are very good. That's the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Okay, they're very good at estimating time. And other people, like kids with self-discipline problems, with ADHD, they turn the light on far less than it was actually on. But their sense of time is way off, and their sense of time as it relates to the universe is way off, because there's a real question about how does the brain estimate time in real time, right? So I'm standing on a corner, and I I look left or I look right, or I'm pulling away from the studio and I come to the stop sign. I look left and I look right, and I have to make a decision. Basically, can I get across the intersection before cars come from either way? Right. So I have to have some automatic process that computes the distance between an oncoming car and myself. I have to estimate the speed of that car, and then I have to make a decision as to whether I can accelerate fast enough to avoid the speed of that car.
Sometimes people estimate wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's what happens is kids will walk across the street, or in the middle of the street or whatever, and that's why kids with self-discipline problems get hit by cars so much, is they don't really estimate. Well, he was way down over there. Yeah, but you had to figure he was moving. He wasn't just standing still, and so it's almost an unconscious process, because I don't think the brain stores time. I think the brain stores experience. Because how do you keep track of how long the light was on? You don't just sit there and go, okay, now I can do it. No, in your head you're counting 1, 2, 3. You're trying to do something.
So you're developing a relationship
Yeah.
to the time.
Right, you're trying to store information about time based on experience. Because I don't think we have. We talk about circadian rhythm. So that's another thing. So what is that? That's the, we're sort of in tune with the sun and daylight and darkness.
Body clock.
Body clock. We talk about a body clock, but is the body clock really measuring time, or is it responding to the environment? So if I put you in a timeless place, a room with no light, no window, no nothing, and I said, okay, now tell me what time it is, or tell me how much time has passed, you couldn't do it. Without context,
Yeah.
it's very hard to know. And in all of those movies where somebody's locked up in a cell or something on Alcatraz, he makes a line every day.
Yeah.
But eventually he gets off because he has no, quote, clock. And so I guess in a prison they wake you up, but you don't really have a clock. So if you say, well, I'm going to mark one day every time I wake up in the morning, by the end you could have lost days and days. Because maybe you wake up a little early. If you wake up an hour earlier than you think, and you mark that as a day, and then an hour earlier than that, or you're off. Which is why, for example, I can talk about Jewish holidays. So there's a Jewish holiday, New Year's. We celebrate New Year's when we think the world is 5,000 years old. Not we collectively, but we Jews. I don't think it's 5,000 years old. But when people left the Holy Land, the New Year's was celebrated for one night, but they couldn't be sure, given time error, whether they were right. So they decided, well, let's celebrate 2 nights, and then we'll split the difference. And that's what happened. So our ability to engage with time, to make deals with time, aren't we forever making deals with time? Aren't we relentlessly, I'll do this, then I'll do this, or maybe I'll do that, or I don't have enough time for this, or I'm going to go do that, or... Right. We're constantly negotiating with time.
We three have an interesting relationship with time as musicians.
Right.
That's
Yes.
the biggest difference between what could be perceived as an interesting performance and a very square, boring performance is the time involved in the notes, in the delivery of the notes.
Ah, that's right.
Time
Right.
is a big importance.
But is that time or is that timing?
Well, the time between one note's delivery and the next note's delivery. That is a space of time.
Right?
Right.
And if you delay that a little bit, you're swinging and you're cool. If you put it right on, you're
too
square,
rigid.
baby.
Wow. I hadn't thought of that.
It's that as a drummer and a guy who lives by the metronome, I'm constantly aware of that time.
Again, I don't know if that's the same. That's like keeping time.
right? But it is
or
the distance.
doing something within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's different than time as it relates to when to do things. Or maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. When
maybe
do you
not.
lay down that left hand
Right.
on the snare?
And why? So why do you think it is that when you're doing something really enjoyable, it seems like time goes by very quickly,
Yeah.
right? So now we're beginning to build. Maybe we'll get a Nobel Prize. We're beginning to build an understanding of what variables impact our perception of time.
You mentioned ADHD and development problems. I was going to ask you that's real. There is a haziness within time perception for those individuals.
Yes, and haziness is an interesting word. First, they're always in the moment. So they have a hard time using past experience to guide present behavior for a different outcome. Now, what I hadn't thought of until just this moment is maybe that's because of their trouble with time. That they store an experience, but they don't store it with any kind of a time clock like the rest of us do. And in the heat of the moment, maybe it's the time clock that helps them retrieve the... Because as you stand on the corner and you look both ways, part of what you have to think about is not just is there a car coming, but what happened the last time I ran out in the middle of the street? And it's the same thing. It's trying to, it's trying to remember. I don't know. I mean, I think...
I hear that as an excuse a lot from folks that I work with. I have ADHD. Forgive my time.
Yeah, they don't manage time well.
Yeah.
They're late.
Yeah.
But is that... Time management is not a symptom of ADHD,
I see.
right? Poor time management.
Is that something that can be worked on to develop?
I'm kind of looking up at the ceiling because I think if it was that easy, then I don't think so,
Yeah.
right? And what happens? Can you alter your experience of time with drugs?
There you go. Does that have you noticed that
So
is
stimulants help people be more timely.
Ah.
And then there's the automatic management of time and the conscious management of time. Right? And again, is so many... We could have organized this podcast today in so many ways, because think about the revolutionary idea when the daytimer came out. When Covey...
Thank you, Franklin Covey.
Right,
Covey,
Franklin Covey said, here's how you're going to be better organized for what? Time.
Yeah.
Time.
This will plan your day for you.
This is it.
Right, and some people could go on vacation forever, and the fact that time doesn't really matter. You get up when you're going to get up, go to the beach. Whenever you have lunch, they're serving all the time. It doesn't make a difference. But some people, after 3 or 4 days of that, like me, I just go nuts. It's like, get me out of here. And it's a vacation, and it's really nice, and it's beachy, and but it's like there's no connection to time. Well, when do you want to get up? Yeah, whenever we get up. When do you want to go for lunch? Well, when we're hungry. What kind of a world would we have if we abandoned time?
Chaos.
That's what I think, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So-
we have made that our god. Time.
Absolutely.
That's
So
what
is
we do.
time an evolutionary? Is time the product of evolution that developed because without it we wouldn't evolve? Without it, we'd be lumps sitting around the cave saying, "What do you want to do today? Oh, I don't know. Want to leave the cave? No, I don't know. We'll just sit around here. We need more firewood. Yeah, maybe we'll go get some later. Well, when is later? I don't know. Whenever we decide. I mean, you could do a lot of great routines about time.
Well, that reminds me of that meaning of life, the fish in the aquarium. And every time they turn around, they go, "Good morning." And then they just swim off. And when they come back, "Good morning." Because time is from there to there.
Right. There's no sense of time. Yeah, I don't know where again, this topic is, it's almost like there's so much to it that it's hard to figure out, well, where do we settle on it? And do we have any guidance for people who listen and say, "Oh, time. I'm always behind the 8 ball in time. I need to learn how to time." I got the Franklin Covey planner, and then I couldn't find it after 3 days. I lost it. Well, that's a time problem. I didn't know where I put it.
And
Well,
now
let's
it's
go
40
back
years
in time.
later. Where is it?
Yeah, let's go back in time, trace your steps, and see.
Oh, man.
And look at all the film. What was the film where there was an explosion on a train or on a boat or something, and he constantly went back trying to stop it? He went back 12 hours, and then he'd wake up and he'd be back 12 hours. Look at all of the films. Groundhog Day. Look at all of time is.
Well, one of our first sci-fi novels, The Time Machine.
Right.
We're just
Who
fascinated.
thought of that? I mean, obviously the author thought of it, but
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's
but who would even
interesting-
think of it? Why would you even?
Yeah, why
could
would you consider
imagine?
that?
I mean, it's a Jules Verne, right? So
Oh, yeah, or was
Yeah.
it H.G.
I think it
Wells?
was
I can't remember.
Time Machine was. I think it was.
I wish
Jules-
we had a computer that would.
I think it was.
What can we do?
I think it was Jules Verne.
Was it?
But whatever. I mean, again, it's like those guys sitting around a cave a million years ago, and everybody's just happy, and one guy can think about their circumstances, and what am I doing here? And the other guys are, what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose? Right?
Yeah.
But imagine we're just sitting around, and we're a bunch of authors sitting in our writers' club on a Tuesday afternoon, because that's what we do. And is it Jules Verne?
Jules Verne.
H.G. Wells?
Jules Verne is Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Well, that's another one. That's another one. That's more.
Around the World in 80 Days.
That's more about imagination.
Who else did you say?
H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells.
I think so.
I think you're probably
Because that's
right.
another interesting.
The Time Machine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let's suppose we're H.G. Wells, and we're sitting around with other writers, and somebody says, "I think I'm going to write a novel about eagles." Well, I think I'm going to write about the oceans and sailing across the oceans. And Wells said, "I'm going to write about traveling through time," and they all went, "What?
That's ridiculous.
What do you think you're talking about? Who would ever think of traveling through time? Who would ever have an idea that time was not a constantly fluid, right? Right? Because that's the riddle, right? It never stops. You can't touch it, and it never goes backwards.
Right.
And that's on one of the IQ tests. It can't stop, you can't touch it, and it can't go backwards. And some people say, "Oh, time." And I get interesting answers from, some kids will say wind or clouds. My favorite answer was, you can't touch it, you can't. It was President Monson. And I said, "What? President who?" And then I learned, the Mormon deity. What do we call him? The Mormon.
He was
prophet.
president?
The prophet.
Prophet, yeah.
Call him the prophet. And the kid said, "Well, he died, so you can't touch him. You can't." And I said, "Okay, all right, that's a good one."
Good for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's the wise Marty McFly.
Well, widely considered to be the greatest of all time travel movies.
Is it?
Yeah. There was an interesting time ago where Neil deGrasse and all of his ilk got together and discussed the best, which to them would technically be the most accurate.
Interesting.
And their symposium said that movie, the first one,
Was
the
most accurate.
believable as they interpreted it. Thanks, Neil.
But it's so. Where did he go? He's in the DeLorean, and he's driving down the road, and he has 8 gigawatts
Right, yeah.
of electricity.
Flux
Scott.
capacitor.
The flux it goes into the car, and where does the car go? How does the car, as a material object, travel through space? Now you understand in Star Trek, This is why we probably
Good, I'm glad we're back.
We probably needed more than just the mescaline. But in Star Trek, you travel by taking all your molecules apart, putting them back together again. Mm-hmm. And if the transporter isn't working right, it really makes puts people back screwy. Right. And in The Fly, was that Jeff Goldblum?
Yes.
In The Fly,
Yeah.
there's a little fly in the teleporter.
Brundlefly DNA.
And he becomes a fly.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Human, our imagination knows no boundaries to how we see time or what we think about time.
Star Trek believed in the slingshot effect for time travel. You had to swing around a sun to generate that kind of speed. Whereas
right?
Whereas Marty McFly was the wormhole. The car created the wormhole that you traveled through.
Oh, and Superman was you just had to go around.
You go around backwards.
Backwards. Who thought of that one?
Thank you, Richard Donner.
Yeah, 1957. Now we need Superman to go back in time. What shall we do? Well, what if he flies in reverse to the Earth's orbit? Oh, so you mean like the Earth is keeping track of time, and if you go backward, it's like moving the hands on the clock backward? Yeah, oh, good. Everybody will buy that. That makes sense. It's black and white after all. Everybody will get that. I bought it. That was, you ran around. I'm back in time. And the question was, how do you know how many times you have to go around before you get where you want to go?
Yeah, no. How did Superman? He was flying fast, but he knew right when to stop.
Well, yeah.
They call him Superman. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess what I want to know is why didn't he just slingshot out when he's going so fast? Why didn't at some point it just... Because he'd have to be leaning. He'd have to be leaning in. Otherwise, he'd come around the curve of the Earth.
Force would have been amazing.
Right, and it would just throw him out.
Again, he's Superman.
So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Right, so time knows no boundaries. Right.
Well, our imagination has taken it there now.
Right, and that's the other problem is trying to separate. But that's true for everything.
Sure.
Most everything we've learned from fictional characters, fictional stories, fictional events that didn't happen. I was thinking of getting on AI and asking it to rewrite the history of the world, assuming that Jesus never lived.
Fun.
What would it? I haven't done it yet, but it would probably say I can't do it. But it would find some excuse to not do it. I hadn't even thought of that. During the break, we're gonna get on AI and ask it to. Yeah, I think we'll do that.
Time.
Okay.
It's big. It's big.
It's time.
We've discovered a topic.
We've wasted a lot of time.
Well, thank you for being on this journey with us. We're going to take a break. Enjoy the time listening to the band Sigmund Freud.
In the early morning sunshine, with you on my mind, heading home on this highway, I'm not sure what I'll find. The radio is playing songs we once knew. Every mile feels longer, traveling there without you. I see the signs ahead, just out of view. This road keeps on winding, but never back to you. 'Cause love's a long highway.
Welcome back, Brainers. Sam has it.
He figured time out.
I didn't, but I told my boss I was late because of time travel. He said, next time don't come back. or I tried to read a book on history of clocks. I couldn't get past the first few seconds. And this one, why did the man throw his clock out the window?
Want to see time fly.
Everybody knows one. I asked my watch if it was hungry, and it said, no, I just had seconds. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Here's a better one. So I asked Chat, assume, as I said in the last segment, Jesus never lived. Give me another history. It not only gave me history, it gave me a map. And it said, the Roman world stays religiously fragmented, Roman state religion continues alongside Mithraism, emperor worship, and local gods. No single faith spreads fast enough to unify belief across the empire. Religion remains mostly local, practical, and political. Judaism evolves differently. Oh, heresy. Judaism remains internally diverse but unified. Rabbinic traditions still develop. Jewish communities face fewer accusations of rejecting a savior. Anti-Semitism doesn't disappear, but its theological foundations are weaker. No Christian Europe. No Catholic Church.
Wow, that's big.
Because they own more property than the rest of the world. No Pope.
Sorry.
No monasteries. No church-backed kings. No crusades. No Reformation. No Protestant Catholic wars. Europe identity forms around language, empire, and law instead of faith. Science and philosophy take a different path. Greek and Roman philosophy stays dominant longer. Aristotle and Stoicism guide ethics rather than Christian morality. Islam still rises, but differently. And it says with no Christianity, Islam interacts mainly with Judaism and pagan religions. The modern world feels less moralized. Many ideas we now see as a moral absolute develop differently. The bottom line, the world without Jesus isn't automatically better or worse. It's colder, more pragmatic, and more political. History still has wars, etc. I guess I'm going to ask, what about Mary? Wasn't that a movie? What about
Mary?
Yeah, so I'm going to ask, what about Mary?
What about Mary?
And Mary in a world where Jesus never lived. Mary is a historical figure. She's a Jewish woman from Nazareth, likely marries young, has children, manages a household, lives under occupation, pays taxes, no virgin birth, no divine motherhood. Without Mary, we have no Madonna, no Pieta, no nativity scenes, no Marian prayers, feast days, etc. Women's spiritual status develops differently. The quiet irony in our real history, Mary becomes one of the most recognized women who ever lived without speaking much, ruling anything, or writing a word. That's the real history, right? In the alternative world, she likely lives and dies as millions did, unnoticed and erased by time.
Sure.
Gosh, chat, thank you very much. I think next season, it's just going to be us and chat.
And chat.
Our guest will
We're going to
be
ask chat.
Chat.
We're going to ask chat bizarre questions.
Yeah.
And then discuss what chat says.
Fascinating.
You know, because chat already has told us that without religion, at least without that religion, I guess I can ask it, what about a world with no religion? And let's see what it says.
I think it was John Lennon
I was
who
just going
asked
to say,
that.
I think John Lennon said
A world with no religion. A world with no religion at all. And it's got pictures and images. No religion doesn't mean people are rational or nicer. It just means human never explain the world using gods, spirits, or the supernatural. They still fear death. They still want meaning. They still form tribes, hierarchies. Without religion, no divine purpose, no afterlife, no cosmic justice. Meaning comes from family, reputation, contribution to the group, legacy. Morality is practice, not sacred. Power is more honest and more brutal. Art and culture lose the vertical axis. No cathedrals, no sacred music, no icons or saints. Death is heavier. Science arrives early but isn't worshipped. The trade-off? Less dogmatic, less unified, less transcendent, more flexible, more fragile. Bottom line, religion, a world without religion isn't empty, it's louder, and I love the chat fancy word, it uses it all the time, messier, and more human. So there we go, there's chat. So now what do we do with that?
That goes in our time travel movie that we write
Right.
about,
Right.
you know, we changing religion, changing. I mean, that's
So you made a point before about how managing time in music creates emotion,
yeah,
right?
it absolutely does.
So is it possible that we didn't invent time. Time is there. It's like I was once giving a little talk to my youngest child's first grade classroom, and we were talking about Hanukkah. And I said, well, this was a time before people invented electricity. And during the break, this little kid who's probably today running MIT or something came up to me and said, well, Ryan's dad? I said, yeah. We didn't invent electricity. We just discovered it. I said, really? Yeah. I said, well, did we invent fire? No. Oh, my whole world is shattered now. Did we invent time? Or did we just discover it? Was it always there lurking in the shadows, waiting for its moment in the sun? And we brought it out. Is time, supposing we had the thinking capacity of dogs, would we have created time?
Time for dinner.
That's the only thing dogs think about. It's as far as time, or when you're going to get home.
Yeah.
And our events in our lives create temporal timelines or temporal experiences, right? You remember something based on, well, that was a few years ago. Wow, I didn't realize that was that long ago.
Yeah.
And time, and again, we started with this idea of chronesthesia. And I always get people with that one, like, do you travel through time? No. Well, yeah, you do.
Sure.
Think about what I just said to you a minute ago. Yeah, you just traveled.
We traveled.
Right. It's like I'll ask people, do you talk to yourself? Oh, no, I never talk to myself. Oh, so you don't think? How do you think? And did we think before we had language? Because I don't know about you, I think with language. I think with words.
Ah.
And if we didn't have words, what did our thinking contain 500,000 years ago?
This whole episode,
Images.
I needed to be high. I needed this.
I told you.
This is all.
I told you. Because the brain, you could see people with certain brain injuries. There's the one famous, actually, brain researcher who had a stroke, and in the part of the brain that connects the inner world to the outer world, and she began to lose a sense of where she ended and the world started, right?
Wow.
When you have injury to certain parts of the brain, you lose certain things. You lose language, you lose smell, whatever the case may be. But where is the, quote, time center of the brain? And is time part of the mind, which we've discussed, that really doesn't live anywhere except in the ephemeral, which is why the idea of your mind without a body.
Yeah.
Where does time live? Is it part of the physical brain? Or is it really something in the mind?
Good question.
And on a very simple foundation, we talk about time passing. So time is a constant in the universe. The universe is measured in some kind of metric related to time. But look at how far, as we've said, how much further we've taken it to. We try and manage it. We try and sell it. We organize it. What else do we do?
We want to turn it back. I mean, even if it's just physically, we're going to turn back time. We will make you look 40 again.
Right. Turn back time. So all of that is related to the mind.
If I could turn back time.
And she certainly has.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for when she
So since
announces
there's
the wrong winners.
Oh, yeah. That's
Dead winners.
Thank you, Grammys.
so it's how we handle memory. It's how we handle experience or prediction, or it's how we handle it. Not so much some fixed variable. Maybe time time is as old as the universe, because before there was a universe, was there time?
Right.
Well, what was before the universe? Well, that's the whole idea of, well, before the universe, there was a locker in Grand Central Station, and the men in black kept everybody in there. And when they opened it, then you realized, oh, I'm in a locker. And but when the Big Bang happened, did it create time?
Time.
Was there no time before there was a universe?
Right.
Was there no time? And somewhere on some planet that where their species, their advanced species, what's the right word, where they can think and feel, and that they've been around 1 million years. Somehow they've survived 1 million years, which is 4 times as long as us, right?
Yeah.
And somewhere they're sitting on the other side of the universe monitoring things going on, and they come across our little podcast, and they're probably sitting there as we talk about time in the universe and where did it start, and they're sitting there laughing.
How
These guys are
quaint.
They
so
think
dumb.
these guys are right. This is pretty funny. These guys are. What the heck are these guys talking about? Don't they have?
Is this a bit? Is this a comedy bit?
right?
Well,
Right,
they're
but
laughing
these
at
guys-
Einstein too, so I don't feel bad.
Right. And then the question is, if you spend a long time doing nothing, I mean, time at night is interesting, because sometimes you wake up during the night and you think it's been all night, and then you look at the clock and it's 1:30 in the morning, and you've only been to bed 2 hours, but you feel like, God, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Right. And do you know how that TV show we talked about, every time you go back in time, you go back to the same spot, or the comedian who used to do this stand-up routine, and he played Latka. And
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman, and he'd get 2 or 3 jokes in. The first time I saw him was in a club in New York, the Comedy Club.
Oh,
right?
fantastic.
And he gets up. It was a late night show, and because he used to go to see some of the bigger comedians, they'd come and try material, and he gets up and are you talking like this? Oh, I'm very nervous today. A little Indian, you don't know what is going on with this guy, and he starts telling a joke, and he gets up and he's sweating, and he was such a good actor, and he gets about halfway through, and he goes, I forgot. Let me start again. And he starts all over again from the beginning, right? And now you're kind of a little annoyed because is it really funny or is it not funny? And then he gets 2/3 of the way through and he does it again. That was his whole thing. He just irritated people, right? Mm-hmm. And then he finally said, "Okay, we won't do the joke. I have something special for you." And he has a little Victrola, and he puts on Mighty Mouse,
Mighty Mouse, yeah.
and here we come to sing. And you're going, what is going on? Who is this guy? And then he finishes Mighty Mouse, and he says, "Oh, I have another song." And he turns the record over and turns around and he slicks his hair back and puts on a sparkly jacket, and he's Elvis. And he did Elvis
Like,
really well. And we went,
legitimately,
"Oh, you
yeah.
should have opened with this. You should have started with this." He again, we're way off the topic here, but because time, I'm remembering. Isn't it interesting? I opened the zip drive, and I'm remembering,
flooded.
and I can see off of 9th Avenue, and it's 48th or 47th. It wasn't a great neighborhood. We would go to that club. I bet I went to 50 shows there, and I can see the door and doorman and lining up to go in. I can see the bar where the comedians you hung out. You could hang out in the bar, and then you'd go in, and the room was maybe taking our studio into account, the sound room and the control room. Maybe it was 1.5 times as wide, 1.5 times as big. Maybe you could put 150 people in. Maybe, right? And we saw some great comedians there starting out, and then some old like Rodney Dangerfield, and people would show up. And look at how my recollection of time, and I can see the stage.
Yeah. So
And
you really do travel
And I can
back
see
in time.
Andy Kaufman, and I remember where we were like pretty close to the front on the right side. I can remember, and the stage. If I'm on the stage, the audience is out there. It wasn't a big stage because they only did comedy. They didn't do music, and there was a door there that went out to the street, right? And I'd seen him there a few times, but this was right before he started to do Taxi, which put him on the map, right? And he was crazy. Remember, he wanted to box some famous boxer, and he got killed. And he
Jerry Lawler.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, which was nuts. and the one show, he says, "I have a special guest tonight that came," and he opens the door and he goes out. And you have no idea what he's doing. And he grabs a hooker from 9th Avenue and brings her back in on the stage with him. And this was not set up.
Right.
I mean, this was like, I was like, what is anyway, it's a travel. It's interesting through time because a friend of mine sent me a book recently on the bottom line. Do you know the bottom line? The bottom line was my friend Alan Pepper and Stanley Snowski opened a club on 4th Street in NYU in Lower Manhattan. It was the first club that, the bitter end and those places could only seat 80, 90 people, and they opened a 400-seat club. And a friend of mine, one of my friends from childhood, he put out a book. I bet I went to 50 shows there. I mean, I went to a lot of shows there. And he put out a book, and my friend said, "They've got pictures, but you're not in it." Well, I didn't think I'd be in it, but I saw the Stones there. I saw Springsteen there a couple of times when he first got started. Everybody who's anybody wanted to play there. Even if you did, like when the Stones were there, they just done Madison Square Garden,
but wanted the
and
vibe
Alan
of the bottom line.
Alan would Stanley, his partner, passed away a number of years ago, but Alan would call me and say, "Come tonight." "What time?" "Midnight." Who's on?" "I can't tell you." They wouldn't announce it. They would, and lo and behold, it was the Stones. I saw a lot of. I can't even think back to how many great shows that were there. I saw Billy Joel there, but I saw Billy Joel. See, now I'm opening all these zip drives.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is good or
You
not.
found
but
the password.
I found the password, but Max's Kansas City. I mean, the music scene. This was because I started out playing in bands. I was 3 or 4 nights. I was in Friday, Saturday for always. I was in the city, and Max's Kansas City was on Broadway and maybe 8th or 9th, and it was a restaurant. But upstairs they had a bar and a performance room that was the size of this.
Yeah.
You could sit 70, 80 people in there. And the bar had a big glass window, and from the bar you could see in if you didn't buy a ticket, and you could hear. Right?
Cool.
But I remember I saw Billy Joel there the first time. He had just put out Cold Spring Harbor. It was before he did.
Yeah.
And he was playing by himself. And then I saw, the best was Atlanta Rhythm Section. Do you know?
Hey, of course.
I'm close to you. Yeah. No. So Atlanta Rhythm Section is how many pieces? 10, 8, 9, whatever.
You must have been hanging over that stage.
They filled half the room. They filled half the room, which was really, it was pretty interesting. There was no stage, really. It was the room and a floor.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing thinking back. And as I think back, it's interesting that as I think back, I can think of some of those shows, but not others. Like I sit here, I can think of, and I don't know that it's determined by bigger stars.
Right.
I'm not sure what it's determined by.
What opens the zip file?
Yeah, well, what and why do you remember? How does who are you there with, or what is the specific memory of time? I saw Zappa at the bottom line.
Wow, super cool.
That's what he was still playing smaller places, and then I saw him at the Fillmore when he did that show that they. I used to go to I had a friend who worked at the Fillmore, and I go to the Fillmore a lot. And again, some shows Fillmore seated 1,500 people. So some shows you just remember. Like I remember the Allman Brothers, that show they played all night when they did that double live album. And I remember the Zappas when he did his album, and he had Flo and Eddie, the Turtles, singing backup for him. And I remember that. I remember, it's funny, how you remember some shows. But if you ask me to sit here, tell me every show you saw, I can't retrieve all that. But I can retrieve some.
The pivotal.
Too much time has gone by.
I don't know. Well, I don't think it's too much time. I don't know what it is, how memories are stored, or how the experience of time stores those memories, or why. As I sit here, I can think of 2 or 3 bands, and I can see them, and I can't remember their names. Right? Or at CBGB's, which was, there were bands that like Joan Jett,
yeah.
and the New York Dolls,
yeah,
and the Ramones. Yeah. I saw the Ramones once. Now, as you're talking about it, at the bottom line, but those bands were taboo at the bottom line. They played CBGB's, which was I hated going to CBGB's. It was a diving neighborhood. But they had a lot of good shows.
It was the
there.
birthplace of a lot going on.
Yeah, who's the Detroit guy that Iggy Pop? I saw Iggy Pop at the bottom line with no shirt on, and I go, this guy sucks. Why are there people here? And he's still alive, and he's still singing
Yeah,
without
he's still
his shirt
doing it,
on.
yeah.
Jesus, what is okay? So, what's the lesson we learned from this podcast? If anybody's still listening to this podcast, time.
Time.
And so my takeaway message is appreciate the time you have and make time for the things that are important.
What if we could save time in a bottle?
In a bottle. Or there's a whole bunch of great songs. I was just thinking of Styx, Too Much Time on My
Yeah.
Hands.
Right. I mean, time has been romanticized. It's been,
Time passages.
yeah. And the last thing is, I'll leave you to think about this even without them as you're coming down from your mescaline. Would there be a universe without time? Or would it be just one big mess of stuff? There'd be no time. There'd be no order. There'd be no sequence. There'd be no past. There'd be no present. There'd be no future. There'd be no time. And now that I've scared the bejesus out of you, we'll say goodbye until the next time when we're going to talk about something different. We're not going to talk about time anymore because
It's too
I need a
mind-boggling.
martini.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thank you, Brainers. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us, and we will see you next time.
Just because we said it doesn't mean it's true. You're on your own.